just timed out from not being used.
Awesome. You guys can actually hear me with a woo. Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. And thank you very much to Sara Ellen Event Venue, our friends here. Just so everyone knows, food's in the back, the bathroom's down that hallway back there if you need. Come on in. All right, so Keystone Merge is a regional gathering of thinkers and doers. It's the first Thursday of every month, rotating between York, Harrisburg, and Lancaster. Want to just take a minute to thank all of our community partners and community organizers who make this happen. If you want to see a full list, they're on the back of the program. You can see everybody who's involved who makes this happen every month. We're here to learn about great things that people are creating in our community and to provide real-time support to entrepreneurs. So what's going to happen is you're going to hear from an entrepreneur for 10 minutes. They're going to talk to you about what they're up to and some challenges they're facing, and then we as an audience are going to help them. We're going to answer their challenge that they have. So we'll hear from 2 entrepreneurs tonight, which we're really excited to. Like I mentioned, Sara Ellen Event Venue, big thanks to them, and also they are the caterers. They have a restaurant right around the corner called Skillet to Plate Bistro. If you need to get some food, it's the place to go. It is the best soul food here in York. So I am Alexa Bourne. I'm one of the community organizers. I also happen to be the managing director of White Rose Ventures and the executive director of Brady River Collective. We are part of the team that makes this series of events happen. And the reason that we're doing it is we want to connect ourselves together better. I think a lot of times here in South Central PA, I'm in York, I don't cross the river kind of vibes. We're all done with those. We'd like that to be over. Because it's going to be a part of our economic future that we work together more. So this is one of many things that we do to help connect all the amazing people doing amazing things here together. So with that, I don't need to hold any more time. I'm going to hand it over to Gary Ondecko. His company is WinCity.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Alexa. So first, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming today. I really appreciate it. This is my first time kind of getting up and talking about my business, so really appreciate any feedback that I can get. Just want to thank everybody for attending as well. It means a lot. So just as I'm going through this, I just wanted to start off. So what I'm really looking for to get advice from you guys on is kind of the next steps in accelerating the trajectory of WinCity. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, and I'll get out of the way of the actual presentation there. So I'm Gary Ondecko. I'm a business guy first and foremost, so I've been a finance and operations executive in the Northern Virginia and Maryland area for about the last decade. And on the side, I'm a sports guy, so you can see this is a picture of me from about 3 years ago, still playing tackle football. And kind of what brought me to creating WinCity was I was in high school and college. I was a track and field athlete, so I was a short distance sprinter. So that'll kind of piece together as I go forward how I get here. So what am I doing? So WinCity is creating a speed timing device. So think about short sprints. So people who run the 100-meter dash like Usain Bolt, or in the NFL, 40-yard dash is a big thing. So people in those events are usually being timed in the 100 meters in 9 seconds even, up to about 15 or 16 seconds. Then for the 40-yard dash, it's only about 4 to 6 seconds. So you really need a lot of precision when you're timing. So hand timing athletes with just a stopwatch and a coach, it's usually accurate to only about a half of a second. So you can imagine if you're running something that's only 4 or 5 seconds long and you only have precision to about a half a second, you really don't know how well you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So I'll get into kind of more about the timing device itself and the implications for training in general as I go along here. So talking about just high school athletes, high school track and field is actually the largest sport by participation in the United States. So there's over 1 million people that participate in track and field in the United States. It's the #1 participated sport in high school athletics for females, and the #2 for males, only behind football, which has about another 1 million athletes that participate. So both of those events combined have about 2 million participants in the United States, and that does not account for people who are pro athletes, and it also doesn't account for little 5, 6-year-olds, middle schoolers that also participate in these events. So there's a large population that could benefit from this device. So the problem is, like I said, you have the stopwatch, which is about accurate to a half a second. Then you have other devices that are also very accurate to about 100th of a second, but are not accessible to the general athlete due to their cost. So the average timing system that's in a track and field meet is about $1,000 at the low end and up to tens of thousands of dollars at the high end and for the professional level timing systems. So that's not very accessible to the average athlete who just wants to get their time on a day-to-day basis during training. So that's kind of the problem that I'm trying to solve here. So like I said, it's a problem that I'm trying to solve, but I know I'm not the only one trying to solve this problem. So the number one sports timing system in the United States is Brower. This is based on laser technology, so you can think of it as transmitter on one side and then a receiver on the other side. It's creating a laser beam across that's acting as a finish line. So what happens is the athlete starts based on a sound system, and then as they go, they break the finish line with the laser timing at the finish. So there's a couple issues with this. The number one issue is the cost. So you can see $1,700. That's an accurate cost for a Brower timing system. Additionally, setting up a laser may seem like a pretty simple thing to do until you realize that the laser is about an inch thick and is feet away from the person, and there's no background to kind of see where the laser is. So if you're out on a bright sunny day and you don't have anything to kind of gauge where that laser is, you could be spending minutes, if not 10, 20 minutes trying to just set up your system. So that can become a hassle. Another one of the big systems is the Freelap system. So this is kind of the number 2 competitor in the US market. It's based on magnetic technology. So you can see here the kind of the premium system is still in that same range around $1,700. And then there's an individual system for about $600. So there's a couple issues with the individual system. The largest issue is that you can see there's a little, it looks like a wristwatch, but it's a tracker that's put on the individual. It's kind of what is used by the magnets to indicate where the individual is at, positioned on the track or on the field. So each individual athlete has to have their own tracker, so you can't kind of rotate between people, especially if you're out in track or football, and hey, I'm even sweating inside, but if it's 90 degrees out, you really don't want to be passing that around with other kids, especially with COVID going on and just general hygienics. So you kind of want to keep that to one person per system. So what I've developed is an ultrasonic system. So I tried to make my system more convenient, kind of easy to set up. So you can think of it, a simple way to think of it is kind of like bat echolocation, right? So you have a sound that's coming out of the bat, it's bouncing off an object. They can tell how far away that object is, kind of what it looks like by the way it bounces back to the bat. So that's kind of what my system is built upon. So my system has kind of a device that sends out an ultrasonic signal that you can't hear, bounces off the athlete, and then bounces back to the system within the fraction of a second. So it has no effect on the actual timing of the system, so there's no loss of accuracy. And it also, there's limited setup because you just have one device at the start, one device at the finish line. All you're doing is turning it on, and it will recognize when the athlete crosses the first item to start the time, when the athlete crosses the second item to stop the time. So I have a few pictures of the prototype that I'm currently on. There we go. So it's a little blurred out here, but the top is me running with the system, testing it out as a prototype. Right here's the actual system, so just a fraction of the size of some of the other devices that are out there. It's about 6 inches by 6 inches. You can see this is shooting out an ultrasonic beam, and this is receiving it right here. And then there's radio technology to communicate the two systems with each other. So that's the system in a nutshell. Basically, both boxes look almost identical. The first one has a buzzer to indicate that the time was caught. And the second one has an LCD screen to show the time. Right there, it just shows stopwatch because it's in a rest position. So that's the device in a nutshell. So the part that I want to get your guys' advice on and why I came to this event was I started this process in January of 2021. Actually, New Year's, the New Year's resolution, I decided that I wanted to become an entrepreneur. It had been something that I'd been wanting to do for a while, and this is a problem that I had in college 20 years ago. So nobody had ever fixed the problem. There have been solutions, but they've been expensive or hard to set up or lack the technology needed to be reliable. I got to my first prototype almost a year later. I used primarily Upwork contractors for the technology. I'm not a technical founder. been focused on the finance and operations side of things. That first prototype cost $400 just to create the device. That's without the R&D that went behind it. That was multiple times that cost. That was funded by myself. And it was 2 foot by 2 foot. So you can imagine nobody's putting that in their duffel bag to carry around to a track for a practice. So I then went kind of on my own mad terror as a Googler and kind of looked on ways to improve that system and got it down to the device that you just saw. So it's much more compact. It's a fraction of the cost of the original device. I'm looking to sell it at around $200 to $300 based on the current margins I'm at, and we'll be able to reduce the cost even further. Right now it's, again, in the prototype phase, so it's just one item at a time. So there's some cost savings to be had there. And then finally, in July of this year, just last month, I started testing it with other individuals to ensure that the reliability and the accuracy of the system, I was just timing it on one track, just myself, so there could be things either related to the size of the athlete or the location, the background, lighting, wind, et cetera, that could have affected the system. So I was able to verify the reliability and accuracy of the system. It's over 90% reliable, which is actually very high for kind of the part of the market that I'm trying to participate in. The accuracy is at least to 0.05. I've been using video to validate the accuracy of the system. Like I mentioned, it's convenient and easy to use, and has the latest version I have has Bluetooth so that you can store the timing of the athlete, and also, like I said, LCD feedback for immediate feedback on the track or on the field. So again, kind of what I'm looking for help on. So I've got a pretty solid prototype at this point, but I'm trying in my head to understand what the next steps are. There's been a lot of movement recently in the sports analytics side of things, and also with sports tech. So there have been a lot of competitors, a lot of major players that have been starting to go into this space. So I think I have probably about another year, maybe 2 at most, window to get this out to the market. So I'm looking for advice as to whether it might be beneficial to have a technical co-founder. Like I said, right now I'm non-technical, and I need to go to my contractors to be able to create or develop the technology further from where it is right now. Do I need outside investment to just get additional contractors to help expedite from prototype to final product? Or do I just need to maintain and kind of just go to the minimal viable product and just see what I can get from there and continue at the pace that I'm at, just to get more market validation? Am I too early to be worried about these other areas of potential growth of the product? So that being said, that's my presentation. Would love to get any feedback, or if you have any questions about the device, would love to hear it.
Consider doing something to the effect of Indiegogo, Kickstarter, things like that. I mean, I buy a bunch of those products every year and back places similar to what you're doing. And actually, one of the last things I bought was a bicycle mount tracker that tracks your speed and GPS and all kinds of fancy stuff like that. And usually when you offer it on Kickstarter, you give your backers a kickback of some sort, like 30% off or something to kind of bolster your financials and help you get to those next stages and that kind of thing.
No, that's a very good question, and that is a route that I've thought of. I wanted to make sure that I got to a solid product. So like I said, I've just gone to that recently, so that's why I wanted to come here to see what the next steps are that could potentially happen. But that's certainly one route. I think my hesitation with that is that I want to continue to focus on the development of the product at this point, and having a successful launch on one of those sites, whether it's crowdfunding or Indiegogo or things like that, also require a lot of marketing expertise and a lot of marketing background. So I didn't really want to divert my attention too much from the actual product itself. So if there were ways to focus on product quality still while starting to just get some minimal traction on the sales side, I'm not worried kind of about attracting short-term sales. I'm more so worried about having a defendable position whenever I actually launch the product. So, but I appreciate that comment.
So a couple questions. Are you already connected with one of the athletic research facilities on one of the college campuses to have them do your research for you?
No, I haven't. But I would love to hear more if you...
Well, that would probably be a good reach out to reach out and see, because most college campuses with Division I have research facilities on campus, and so that would be a place to get some solid research run out. The
Yeah.
other thing is, have you reached out to some of the current timing companies? Like New York's top is Lyon Timing, and Lyon's do the Olympic trials, and so they do the shoe-based. So they do all of New York's and all up and down the East Coast for regular.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I wanted to reach out to somebody who might potentially be a competitor. Are you talking about more so on like I guess, would you see that as something that would be like a partnership? Is that what
Well, I wouldn't. Distance, short distance are totally different.
Yeah,
and I don't
definitely.
run, but my kid does.
Yeah.
And my kid hates short distance, and my 27-year-old loves long distance.
Yeah.
And Leon's are family friends. So
Gotcha.
he was a kid. He was 14 years younger than me when I was growing up. So,
Yep.
and so the value of watching grow
Yeah.
from small local
Yeah.
timing to big marketable Olympic style timing, and how the technology's changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
long distances, marathons, halves are totally different.
Oh yeah,
Ways are-
certainly. Yep.
Technology is totally different.
Yeah,
He has a
definitely.
niche market.
Yeah. Yeah. That's more of a
but
chipping
they've also
device. Yep.
diversified because over the pandemic, when there weren't those in-person races, right? We all went
Yep.
online races. They diversified and started One New York, and One New York is all virtual and virtual
Gotcha.
challenges and challenges across the country. People were doing One New York even if they didn't live in New York. So,
Yep.
so it may be of value to
Yeah.
reach out to some of the companies that have already kind of done some of the marketing in a slightly different
Yeah, no, that-
niche to kind of learn, like, hey, where those hangouts were
Yeah. Yep.
and where they get their, get their reach and who they
Yeah.
partner
No,
with.
that's a great idea.
Because you kind of need research-based stuff. So
Yeah.
you-
That's like I was trying to talk about, like going from prototype to product. There's still additional fit that needs to be done there and validation of the actual timing. So, like I said, I've done the best I can with video, but that's not kind of that research grade assessment of the timing as well. So that makes sense.
Yeah, so a couple places to think.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's good advice. Thank you.
There you go. Oh, did you?
Another one actually, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the local Facebook groups. Like there's one ran by the Mike something, that's a realtor guy. It's called Southern New York County. Sometimes pulling resources in from that type of a Facebook group and just doing the same thing you did right here. Like, hey, I have a product, I'm trying to R&D it. I
Yep.
need a technical person, I need a marketing person, I need a this. You know, you might get a couple people that are useless, give you useless responses and
Yeah.
instead of help you, judge you or whatever. But
Yep.
many times you end up getting, hey, I'm privy to some of this info and I'm privy to some of that info. And I mean, it looks like what you'll need at some point is manufacturing. You'll need someone that
Yep.
can help you with 3D printing prototypes,
Yep.
someone that understands electrical,
Yep.
and being able to find, there's tons of electrical companies. There's one out on Queen Street across from the fire department in the Handles that does electronics. There's one on the way out to Cadoris that does electronics and circuit boards and that kind of stuff. So I
Gotcha.
bet you'd probably be able to pull a lot of resources locally just by doing exactly what you're doing here with us at Keystone Merge and
Yep.
going over to the localized Facebook groups and just kind of send up a flare in the sky. And, you'd be surprised with how many of these things that you could probably do right here in the 717. So,
Oh, that's great advice.
and keeping it local also is kind of our thing.
Okay, so once you get to the point where you're ready to test, I don't know I couldn't really hear you, but I think she said something about universities. So my daughter was on the rowing team at Drexel, and they were testing a device, with added synchronization and how the oars put in the water, how much you're together, how hard you pull. And there was a device that came to the university and that they tested during practice. So I think there's some validity to that, because you have the structure, you have the audience, and they could help you get, validate without you going into some crazy cost.
Yeah.
That's just a thought.
Yeah, I think definitely getting the university level research will be helpful. I've certainly had a lot of local individuals test, but that's, again, not the same as the research base, so I think that's a good idea.
I was just going to comment. So if the question is like you're mulling over these three issues.
Yep.
trying to figure out what should your priority be.
Yep, definitely.
I'm in this, so I'm similar. I'm developing a software, piece of software. I'm not an engineer.
Yep.
I have a business partner. We're not engineers, so we're non-technical founders as well.
Yep.
And I would just say, finding somebody who can do the tech.
Right there.
Oh, awesome. Definitely, yeah. After this, I'd love to.
Whoa, hey, hello, how's it going? In an ideal world, is your target, for example, a high school junior looking for a scholarship? Is it a college sophomore, junior looking to go pro? Or is it a pro athlete trying to do whatever pro athletes do at that point?
Yeah, no, good question. I think the pro athletes will probably vie for some of the kind of bigger names, so that's not really my initial target. The initial target's actually the high school football and track coaches. A lot of the schools, especially smaller schools, don't have large budgets, especially on the track side. Football may be a little bit different, but a lot of those schools have a hard time getting large budgets for the bigger systems, so they actually defer away from them and go to other tracks where they have the timing systems to do meets and things like that. So the initial target is going to be the coaches themselves, and then if it trickles down to the athletes, great. I've seen already just the few times I've had the system out, parents get interested, the kids themselves get interested. So I think you kill a lot more birds with one stone by going to the coaches and the teams first.
Well, thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary.
Appreciate it.
Up next, we have Philip Baum from Kinetic Kreations. And we're going to give him a minute to get his computer set up. So. I feel like I'm getting feedback. David, can you jump in and thank you. There you go. Yeah.
I don't normally use a mic. My voice is loud enough that everybody can hear me, but for the live stream, I'm told I need to have that. So if I kind of get a little bit crazy with it, it's because it's just not my thing. My name is Philip. I'm from Kinetic Kreations. We used to be called You Are the Hamster, but we had to change it because we were unable to trademark that name. And trademarking is very important. All right, so what is Kinetic Kreations? We're a family-run business. It's actually me and my son who pretty much do everything. My son is in Tampa. He handles the admin type stuff, working with the website developer to get everything how we want it, and just a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I'm the guy out in the field that you see all the time, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. I'm based in Hanover, but we go anywhere. Anywhere, I say anywhere. We've done events up in Maine, as far west as Ohio, and south as South Carolina. Depending on where we go, it may cost you a little bit extra to get us there, but like I said, we go anywhere. We're very interactive. We're not just a cone of ice where you go up and say, I'll take one of those, I'll take one of these. The participant actually has to do something to benefit from it, and that's what sets us apart from everybody. Our wheels have been around since 2015. If you go online, you'll see some down in Florida, out in Colorado, all around the states. But I operate everything up here, and we're going to talk expansion in just a couple of minutes. I've been up here since 2019. Currently, I have 3 wheels that we operate, and I have 4 more in production. Our business growth is crazy. It's actually more than 25% year over year. The first year we started operating up here in 2019, I did about 42 events. Now I can do, this year, I'm keeping it around 60 events, and we're going to talk about why in just a few minutes. But more and more are paid events, not events that we go to and collect money. It's events that people pay us to attend and just provide the service. This is a hamster wheel. This is actually a 4th generation hamster wheel. The first one, a whole lot different, made out of wood, didn't have brakes, didn't have a lot of things. Each time we build a new one, we learn things from the past. The ones that are in production now are a lot different, a lot better built, and we're going to talk about that as well. Now, anybody can go on a hamster wheel. We've had a T-Rex, person on a unicycle, McGruff. If you happen to see me on a shirt, you're going to see all sorts of different characters and whatnot that have been on the wheel over the years. It's just fun. It's just the best. What does our future look like? Franchising. We have videos online. There's a Facebook video with over 40 million views worldwide, a TikTok with 19 million, and just a lot of other different videos. I get requests from all over the world, hey, what do I got to do to get a wheel? I've got a guy in Romania pushing me every 2 weeks. When can I get? When can I get? When can I get? So we're doing some serious talking with him. So my son and I, we started thinking, okay, let's do this. That's why we went through the trademark process to get our name and our logo trademarked. Got to have that in order to do anything real. We're working on the financial disclosure documents. That's one of the first things you got to have when you're soliciting a franchisee. They need to see what they're getting into, what the costs are going to be, what other things are involved with it. And unfortunately, it's a very detailed document, and we are doing the majority of the prep work ourselves before we give it to attorney review. I don't want to spend $400 an hour for an attorney to write a 100-page document when I can do a good majority of it, and they just got to proof it for me. We're also preparing the machine. The machine that you saw on there before is a very, I would call, rudimentary machine. It's not designed for commercial use by the masses. I know how it works. I know how to fix it. I know all the intricacies of it. There's actually rubber bands involved. I know what to do when this rubber band breaks. Not everybody's gonna know what to do for some of that stuff. So we're actually refining the machine from top to bottom, and we're about 95% of the way through with a really commercially viable product. New innovations. So what we're also working on is to make the machine modular. So instead of just doing it to have a shaved ice machine, it's going to do other things. The first thing that it's going to do, everybody knows spin art. Well, we're going to do spin a cookie. You're going to have a cookie, different color frostings are going to go on it, and when you walk on the wheel, it's going to spin it and create that design for you. So it's still an edible product. It's still something that you made yourself, and it's something that is going to be a lot of fun. We don't know exactly, we've got some ideas for item 3 and 4, but those are down the road after we get 1 and 2 out there to the masses. But again, it's going to be modular, so you can literally take off the ice machine part and put on the other. Our challenges, that's why I'm here today. Just like everyone else, employees. Right now, I do all the events myself. When we first started, it was easy. I could find people, college students, a friend's son would do some and whatnot. Now, nobody wants to do it. I pay $30 an hour. If event is just 2 hours long, I pay an hour before and an hour after. So you're getting a minimum of 4 hours for a 2-hour event. I can't find anybody. Where have I looked? Well, I placed Facebook ads for people. Even went on Indeed, placed a paid ad for that. College job boards, we've got ads on several of the local colleges. I even resorted to creating a flyer and going around to different parking lots. So when I see a vehicle with a trailer hitch, boom, I put one on there, because ideally you have a trailer hitch to take the wheel with you. It's not working. Now, occasionally we do get people to apply for a job. We have on our website, there's a quick little application on there. I get it right away. And, I call you and email you, and we set up an interview. Getting them to show up for the interview. I've had probably 40% of the people no-shows. They schedule it and they don't show up. Or they come to the interview and we talk, they love it, they love the concept, they want to be a part of it, then they don't show up for the training. Well, where'd you go? You said you wanted the job, you came, you interviewed for it, and now you're not here. Training is easy. You just have to learn how to repeat a few things. Now they come to show up for training, and they don't even show up for work. I had in this past, summer's not over yet, I had 3 people go through the entire process, and just didn't show up for work. There was always an excuse. Oh, I got a family emergency. Oh, this came up. One of the issues is we're a weekend job mostly. I do weekday events like at schools, at companies, things like that, but most of our events are Saturday and Sunday. A lot of people don't want to give up their weekend or give up part of their weekend for what we're offering. And to me, I don't understand that. And that's Kinetic Kreations. Yes, sir.
Thank you for the presentation. So just so I'm clear, somebody runs on the hamster wheel and makes soon-to-be many food items.
Yes, so we actually, it's like a Rube Goldberg device, and if we had a parking lot here, I would have brought it so that everybody could have done it. It's a several-step process to create it. And let me go back to the picture, and I can kind of walk you through it. Okay, well, what you can't, it's hard to see, but on this side, I hand you a cup. And from then on, you do just about everything. I tell you to put the cup in a cup holder on this conveyor system right here. You put it in, you crank it over, and it stops right where it's got to be. Then there's a lever right here that you pull to lift it up into place. Then I need you to, there's a lever right here to hold down while I give you some ice. After that, one of the fun parts, there's a choo-choo horn. I got to pull twice to get it on there. Then you go onto the wheel. So now we have brakes. So you have to pull in 2 bars for you to actually be able to walk. Otherwise, it's not moving. You could push real hard, and it'll move, but in general, it won't. So you're going through and you're shaving the ice, and all you have to do is be able to walk. You don't have to run. I get the littlest kids still in diapers, and they do a better job than some of the bigger kids because people forget how to walk. You see them bouncing, and that's not how you jog. You put one foot in front of the other, not up and down, and they just don't get it. And the oldest person we've had on there, she was 92. She came up in a walker. Her husband was with her. She got on there. She actually jogged a little bit. Her husband said he hasn't seen her jog like that in over 40 years. She had the greatest time on there. I offered to have her do the experience for free, and she insisted on paying. She had such a great time. So once you're done with that, then you come over here, and again, you can't see it, but there's another handle for you to crank to move your cup down further. Then we added something. There's a large hammer right here. So you flip another lever, and a hammer comes down and flattens the ice into the cup. Pull it back up. I ask you what flavor you want. You tell me what flavor. You crank a handle over here. Then you press a dispenser right here, and these are actually shower heads. And it puts the syrup into your shaved ice. You crank it some more, bring it down the end. I give you your spoon, and you go. So I'm only handing you a cup, and I'm putting in a spoon. The participant does the rest. And they have a great time. Right now we offer about 30 different flavors. Some of those are adult flavors. We don't just service kids. While I can't serve alcohol, I can serve the mixers, and you add your own alcohol. So we do a lot of adult parties with that kind of thing.
So then a follow-up would be, what's your revenue model? Like, who pays you what?
So when we're going to a private party, we charge $249 for the first 2 hours and $100 for each additional hour. So that includes everything soup to nuts. It costs me 25 cents per serving. If I'm at a festival or a fair, I'm serving an 8-ounce cup for $4 and a 12-ounce cup for $5. So it's quite lucrative. One person operating the wheel, you can do about 40 people an hour, 2 people up to 60 people an hour. So you can, really get a lot of people through it.
Have you thought about, in regards to your employee retention problem, integrating your employee to franchisee type of pipeline, right? So finding employees that are expressing interest in potentially becoming franchisees so that they'll stick around longer than just coming to one event or not even showing up at all?
Hadn't thought about that part yet. Again, we're still in the middle stage of franchise, getting the franchise ready. That probably is a possibility. So to get a Kona Ice franchise, it costs you $7,500 for the franchise fee and $125,000 for the truck. All in for the wheel and the franchise fee, we're talking about $20,000. I'm a Kona killer. When I go to an event where Kona is nearby, unless it's 90 degrees out, because then people don't want to walk on it, they just want their ice, I have lines longer than theirs. And it takes an average of 70 seconds to go start to finish. So we do very well up against everybody. It's just getting people like me out there to the events.
It's for the Facebook Live.
So one question I have for you is, why do you think you can't get people? Is it because I'm thinking they're not, even though you pay well per hour, they don't make much money overall if they're just going to one event a week. So is there a way maybe you could have someone like a marketing intern who can do marketing for you during the day, get more of a real stable job?
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, I couldn't offer $30 an hour for a 40-hour week and survive with them just working a couple parties on the weekend. But yes, I was thinking, okay, what could this person do at a lesser rate overall, but to give them more of a full-time job? Marketing, I don't need. I turn away events left and right because right now it's just me. So, and I don't want to be doing this. I didn't get into this to keep doing it all myself. I need to stop doing this to keep my wife happy because I'm not home on weekends and I've got a regular full-time job during the week. So, I got to cut down on this to keep the home life happy. But finding somebody possibly that can help with the construction of the wheels and operate it on the weekend, that might come in handy just down the road when we're ready to start selling these en masse. But yeah, I'm not sure. And again, a lot of people, when I was growing up, a lot of people wanted a weekend job to make a few extra dollars. Nobody wants that now. And even, again, it's just a half a day, $120. It's not enticing enough to get the people to work. And 2 hours is our minimum party. We do 3, 4, 5, 6-hour parties. I've got an event, what's today, Thursday? Saturday, a 4-hour event for a church group up in Dover. Our average event is about 3 hours. So I would be paying 5 hours for that 3-hour event.
We have one from the internet. One of them from the internet is, have you thought about students who are theater majors, people who are more entertaining in nature?
I'll take, that's fine. I mean, this is a fun job. There has never, ever, ever, okay, so I've done probably about 50,000 people through the wheel, and nobody has not liked it. Nobody has not smiled after they've gotten off it. They may have not smiled when they get on it because, oh, my dad's making me do this, or I don't want to do this. But they're smiling big time afterwards, and that's one of the reasons why I keep doing it. I did a special needs school. Their camp ended 2 Thursdays ago. And just seeing those kids, getting on there and there's the big smiles made my day. I had to drive an hour and a half down there. It was down in Montgomery County, Maryland. But hey, they had a great time. Just made it worth it.
So Jersey Mike's does work partners where they do that, where they're the sweat equity partners and they work, and then they earn partnerships into the franchises. So they're well known for that. So that's a local that does do that. As far as you sound, because you have another job, it's the weekends only. If you expanded your availability,
Airing. Blue. Ring.
Available, and here's the rate if you only book one, or here's the rate if you book two, or book two in a related area. So if you're doing, Montgomery County is county-based schools, they're not like up here. So they have a bunch of schools, right? So if you say, hey, if you'll do it in the morning and the afternoon at a discount rate, right, you're not demanding, you're saying this is my availability, and this is, and then you're gonna have more employees, because instead of driving all the way to Montgo for a 3-hour shift and getting paid for 5, they're driving for a whole day and they're getting paid for 8 to 10, right?
Possibly,
so you're making it worth
right.
their while. It's not worth driving to Montgo for 5 hours, even at $30 an hour, right? Because that's a lot. So you kind of have to look at it as making it enticing for people to want to make the investment, and making it long enough that it's worth their while. Right? If I'm going to give up a
I'm
Saturday,
more concerned about getting the people to work in York County
right,
than Montgomery County.
But if you're looking at that, so say you're doing like a Saturday afternoon from 1 to 4, right? A college kid isn't going to want to give up their Saturday and not do anything on Saturday because they're working just 1 to 4. They're going to want to like block the whole day out and know they're getting paid for the whole day, right? Because it's a cost benefit.
Right,
If I know I have
understand.
to like start something and then I have to leave and then I have to come back, it's not worth it. It's just not. So, well, you know, find ways to maximize the amount of time that you're giving and that you're filling it so that it's enticing.
But so we're putting the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse. So I need that employee before I can take on the more jobs to do it. Right? Like I said, now I'm turning away stuff because I can't be everywhere. Last Saturday, I did a campground up in Loysville and then down to the Hershey Park campground right after. So I do 2 events in a row. But again, it's just me. I'd rather have somebody else doing those couple events and getting the 6 hours
So
paid.
do you only do one person at an event? Like, is there only one person that runs the whole event? Like, you don't
Right
ever
now,
have
it's
to
me.
prepare? So you don't have like a second person
Right now,
that
it's
helps
me.
you?
Yeah. I used to have a bunch of people, but went away to college, got lazy because they got a little older, got a girlfriend. So that's kind of where we're at with the people that used to work for me.
Yeah, because the other option is if you need more than one person at an event, then you can roll in that help into your contract. So if you need 2 people at an event, you can
At
roll
different
it in,
schools,
yeah.
I do get a teacher
Yeah.
to give an
Or a
assist. Yeah.
PTO mom and
Yep.
give them a little bit of a break. But
Yeah,
they
we do a lot of
supply the
end-of-year
person.
school parties,
Yep.
a lot of them this year.
Yeah, yep, systematizing. Yep.
Hey, I have 2 things. I think as far as like the help goes, I recently graduated within the past couple years, and I think you're really going to be competing against like internships, right? Unfortunately, like when I was in school in the past 5 years, all I cared about was a resume. You could pay me $35 an hour for that, but if it interfered with a $25 an hour internship, which is what I had, that like I want to take the internship because as a college kid, I'm looking to build a resume. So I do think the suggestion from online with the theater program, you might be able to, like I worked at Best Buy and I'm a computer science major, so I kind of like, linked that in. If you get something like a theater major that could possibly use it as a resume builder, but people my age don't care about the money outside of, it's above minimum wage. People care about building a resume. So you got to figure out that person that can, build that resume. And I do agree with the, sentiment that people aren't going to just go out for like 4 hours anymore either, unfortunately. Like I just said, I worked at Best Buy. I did 12-hour shifts on Saturdays at Best Buy, and I loved it. That's my generation. Like if we're going to kill a day, we're going to kill a day. And then we're going to spend the next day off. I would much rather work 3 12-hour days than a 5-day, 40-hour week. And that's, I think, a lot of people. So that's my first point. Second point is kind of like unrelated, but I would recommend when you are doing outreach to like colleges and stuff, this could have a huge environmental aspect of people that love the environment. And people that love the environment are willing to do things just because they love the environment. If you reach out to sustainability clubs, and I know like on my campus at York, I ran Ski and Outdoor Club, which we weren't a explicitly environmental club, but we had a ton of environmentalists in our club. If you reach out to those kind of people and give it the environmental twist to it, you might be able to get people, especially if they're getting paid for it, who, you know, people that would otherwise just be picking up trash on the side of the road on a Saturday, say, hey, I'll pay you for this. And there's an environmental aspect. You get people that are, instead of using electricity to make the snowball machine, we're saving energy by using a hamster wheel. I mean,
so part of our environmental thing will happen soon, because right now we use styrofoam cups.
Yeah.
So that kind of kills that part.
Okay.
But we're designing our own paper cup and to have for that.
And again,
yes.
but you can reach out to those kind of clubs at your like your
well,
college.
we were at this past Earth Day, York College, the sustainability something or other hired us. We were there.
Yep.
For that.
Yeah. York has a couple different clubs that would be perfect for. I went to York, so you know, shameless plug. But you know, they that's what, like college campuses. Kids my age, they it's not just about money. It's about a cause. You know, you gotta. It's not just. It's about the resume. It's about the environment. It's about something they care about. You know, a campaign for some reason. If you pitch it like that, you're going to find more people my age to help out. It's not just about a 4-hour, $30 an hour shift anymore.
Right. Okay.
So, those are my 2 comments.
No, very good.
No, that was great feedback. That was going to touch on a lot of what I was going to say. So I think kind of what you had up on the slides, like you've reached out in all the ways that you can reach out, short of kidnapping somebody and holding them hostage. I think you have gone through all the channels you need to go through.
Kidnapping.
I mean, $30 an hour, I think is reasonable, if not above market. So I think, as the gentleman was saying, I think you got to look at what the motivation is. So what's the non-transactional way that you can entice somebody? I think that's more than just thinking about. Is it one group of people or another? But I think it goes into what your employee brand is as well, right? So I think as you continue to grow, how are you trying to entice not only your customers but also your employees? So does that have to do with environmental sustainability? Does that have to do with a management training program? Is there some other type of skill set that you want to invest in for your employees? So, I mean, you've gone up and had a great presentation. You've given a lot of good operational and financial advice. So, I mean, I think somebody could definitely learn from you. I think it's just how you message that. So that's the one part that you didn't have up on the screen is what those messages and what those ads look like. So I think if you focus on that, what you want that part of your brand to look like, I think you'll be able to get somebody who will fit everything that you need.
So I was just going to say, this guy back here, the environmentalist idea, I think that's a great one because, you know, that's people who are going to come work there for a reason other than just, you know, the $30 an hour. Because all the reasons you listed for, you know, the problems you're having finding people, that's everywhere.
Right.
Like and we're talking about companies that are paying $30 an hour for full-time work, benefits, and 3 weeks paid time off. They have the same problems. And so, and your work is different, right? It's just on a Saturday, maybe this Saturday, maybe next Saturday, right? It's sporadic work. So I think you're always going to have that challenge. And you're letting a kid, a young person or somebody hitch up. I mean, how much does one of these cost you? Like $10,000?
Cost me?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot less than that.
Okay.
Because I build them.
But still, like the value of that thing, and you're letting it go with somebody, and who knows whether they're going to care about it or not. And that idea of people not wanting to show up, it's just because they have nothing invested, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's going to be a challenge, which is why I think your franchise model is better, right? The people who are going to be best for you are people who have a vested interest in the thing.
Right.
And you even said, I think you said you don't really want to do this full time, right? So if you could like sell the wheel to somebody who then it's their livelihood, and then you just share your marketing with them, so that then they're going out, and then you're just focused on the marketing and the engineering. I think that's a better place to spend your time, because trying to find people, you're just going to be doing that forever. Unless you partner with a temp agency. Have you tried temp agencies or anything like that?
I did not.
Yeah,
That question actually just came in from the internet a second ago. Was a temp agency as a suggestion?
Yeah, that would be the next thing. Like, if you need a short-term fix just to get some employees out as you build the franchise model, I would say call the temp agencies. They're everywhere. They're going to charge you a markup. So, if you want the person to have $120 an hour, you're going to pay the temp agency like $180, probably something like that. Maybe less, depends. But they might be able to provide, a source of people for you. And then there's some services like when you go to U-Haul to move, they always send you an ad for like, do you need help moving? And there's these websites kind of like Uber for guys to help you move, or like TaskRabbit or something like that. So I think there's apps you could maybe tap into where you can get that kind of gig workforce to come help you. Might save some time that way.
So just an idea, we are booked every Saturday this year from the middle of April until the end of November. That's every Saturday. We have got a lot of Sundays in there too, and a lot of weekdays in there too. So the work is there. And like I said, I turn away a lot of events. People, they'll come to me today, hey, are you available in 2 weeks for a birthday party? No. I think booking next year now because they lost out on this year.
I think your ideal model is a person who owns a wheel, going to their own events, running it themselves, or with their family or something like that. Because you try to hire someone to take care of a machine like that once in a while, I mean, you don't have the enticement of the full-time work to bring them back and forth. And even if you get people to schedule, I've been in the staffing business for years, so even if you have someone scheduled to go out on a Saturday, you need someone to back you up, because the chances that that person calling in at the last minute is pretty high. So you've always got to have a backup person, and you'll just do that forever. So like I said, I think the temp agency might be your best bet for that short-term fix to get you through.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually had to kind of piggyback off of that. I was thinking kind of like a Snap-on guy. A Snap-on guy basically has to buy his truck, he has to buy his inventory, and then he drives around all over God's creation selling $80 pliers. That same mentality, though, with this, just like he's saying, a person's going to be a lot more vested if, say, for example, your cost on one of these is $4,500, and you'll offer it to, candidate A here, and for, candidate A, it cost me $4,500 to build it. Every single week when you get your paycheck, X amount's going to come out. It's all about giving incentive. I mean, it's no different than us giving the incentive of, hey, come to Keystone Merge, we're going to be able to hear your idea, and then you're going to have all these people give you feedback. It's that same level of incentive. Don't get me wrong, I know you're giving $30 an hour at a minimum of 4 hours as incentive, but what makes them, when they find something else to replace that easy $120 on a Saturday afternoon, what's going to make them stay even when they find that other alternative, And the retention and trying to form the retention usually comes with some form of incentivizing of, hey, well, this wheel is yours, as long as the person has a truck that can pull a trailer, because I'm guessing you don't put it on a trailer. Do you pull it? Do you pull it itself, or
no, on a trailer?
It does go on a trailer.
5x8,
okay.
Open trailer.
Like a flatbed, wooden floor style trailer type of a thing. So, obviously that makes it a little bit more difficult too, because now you're not just trying to find somebody with reliable transportation. You're trying to find somebody with reliable transportation that can hook up a hitch or hook up a receiver, or put a trailer on it and pull it. So, but I feel like some form of incentivize doing that like that, or maybe instead of giving 30 an hour, give them 20 an hour, and if they show up to all the things, then they get that kicker, making the $30 an hour be a $30 an hour or something like that, because I deal with something very similar. I work with exclusively freelancers and contractors that work off 1099, and they don't have to be loyal to me. They're a contractor. They can do whatever they want to, and it's a constant balance of, oh dear God, I hope these people don't not show up or don't help anymore and not tell us, sort of a thing. And incentivizing has always been something that helps out greatly. Like, for example, we offer free hosting and all the stuff to run all their company stuff off of, which usually helps keep them in our camp, just because we help them out with all their other things and take that pressure off of their shoulders. Now, obviously, not everyone wants to have a hamster wheel in their backyard to crack off
Why not?
a shaved ice thing any day of the week. But at the same time, there's other things that you can incentivize to potentially, help make them a little bit more sticky, make them stick around a little bit longer, Thank you.
Just want to take one more moment to thank our entrepreneurs, Gary and Philip. Thank you so much for presenting today. It was really intriguing to learn about your businesses. Did someone want to clap? You want to do another round of applause? Let's do it. Come on. All right. Again, big thanks to our community partners and community organizers for making this happen every month. If you know of any entrepreneurs that you think would be interested in presenting here, please send them to keystonemerge.com. The application is short and easy, and they get to interact with Helen. So they're basically the luckiest people in the world. So we'll see you next month in Harrisburg. Please stay, hang out, have some food. As I mentioned, it's from Skillet to Plate Bistro, the best soul food in York, which is right around the corner, but you get to eat it right here, right now with all of us. So hang out. Thank you so much. Glad you came. See you next month.